All right, so we're going to take a few minutes to go ahead and go over all the problems in worksheet 1, proportions using a table. So remember, we're finding k. Our formula for finding k is just y over x. So we take a y value on the table, we put it over an x value in the table, and then we just simplify that fraction, right? Number 1, I believe we did together, so number 2, I'm going to take my first point here. My y is 9, my x is 3. So I'm going to do 9 over 3. Right, then I just want to simplify my bigger numbers on the top. So 9 divided by 3, that just gives me 3. I go to my next one, my next point here on the table, and I do the same thing. I go y over x. K is equal to y, which is 18, over x, which is 6, and 18 divided by 6 gives me 3. And last but not least, I take this third point. Y is 27, x is 9. 27 divided by 9, that gives me 3. So I got 3, 3, 3. All my k's are correct, which tells me that k is equal to 3. So all we got to do, just set up 3 fractions, simplify them, make sure they're all the same number, and then boom, that number is my value for k. If I go down to number 3, same thing. I take this first point on the table, y over x gives me 5 over 1. And anytime we have a number over 1, my answer is just that number on the top. All right, so 5 over 1 would be 5. If we had something like 10 over 1, that would just be equal to 10. I take my second point. My y is 10. My x is 2. And 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. 2 for 2 so far. Let's check the third. My y value is 15. My x value is 3. And 15 divided by 3 is just 5. So we got 5, 5, 5. That means my k value here is equal to 5. We want to see that constant number, so it should be the same number each and every time. Now number 4, like we talked about yesterday, is a little bit different. I'm going to take my first point here. My y value now is 5. My x value is 10. 5 over 10. Now something I noticed that's different about this is that my numerator is smaller than my denominator. So my number on top is smaller than my number on the bottom. When we have that, we want to simplify it as much as we can, but our answer is going to still be a fraction. So we take each number and we split it up into the 2 numbers that multiply to make that number. That sounds confusing, but it's very simple. The only 2 numbers that multiply to give me 5 would be 5 times 1. The only 2 numbers that multiply to give me 10 would be 5 times 2. So we just took this top number, we split it up into 5 times 1. We took this bottom number, we split it up into 5 times 2. Now we're looking for a number in common on the top and the bottom that we can cancel out. I see a 5 up here, a 5 down there. Those 2 5s are going to cancel each other out and go away. And what that leaves us with is 1 over 2. So it's not like the previous problems where we got a whole number for our k. This time around we got a fraction for our k, which is totally fine. We can get a fraction. If I look at my second one, my second point, my y value is 4, my x value is 8. And I'm going to do the same thing. 4 is 2 times 2. And 8 is 2 times 4. Now this one we have to be a little bit careful. I've got a 2 and a 2 on the top that cross out, and that leaves me with 2 over 4. And you go, ooh, that's not the same fraction that I had in the first one. But 4 can be split up more as well. We could do that whole process again. 2 is 2 times 1. 4 is 2 times 2. We'll cancel out another pair of 2's, and now we're left with that simplified fraction of 1 over 2. Last but not least, 3 and 6. My y over x is 3 over 6. 3 is 3 times 1. 6 is 3 times 2. My 3's go away, and I'm left with 1 over 2. So for all 3 of these points, my constant is k equals 1 over 2. So it's fine for my k value to be a fraction. What's important is that they're all the same k value. We'll see what happens in a little bit if they're not all the same. So they're all the same k value. We know that's good. That's my k. Same idea here in number 5. I'm going to take my first point. My y over x is 1 over 4. I can't simplify 1 over 4 anymore because I've got a 1 on top. So that's just all I'm going to do. I can't do anything else. We're not going to say, oh, this is equal to 4. Nope. If my smaller number's on top, we keep it as a fraction. Now the next point, 2 over 8. Y over x, 2 over 8. I can split these up. 2 is 2 times 1. 8 is 2 times 4. My 2's go away, and I'm left with, again, a fraction of 1 over 4. Last but not least, my y is 3, my x is 12. 3, well, that's just 3 times 1 if we're going to split it up. 12, I can split up into 3 times 4. I got a pair of 3's that go away, and once again, I'm left with 1 over 4. So I got all 3 the same fraction. My k value is just 1/4. All right, in number 6, we see that my y values are bigger than my x values. We're not going to end up with a fraction here. I'm going to set this up. 15 over 5. Well, 5, 10, 15. That's 3 times. So 15 divided by 5 gives me 3. My next one, y over x, 30 over 10. We could just cancel these zeros out, and we're left with 3 over 1. Which is just 3. And we've got 45 divided by 15. Y over x again. And 15 goes into 45 3 times. Boom, boom, boom. They're all the same. So my k value here is equal to 3. Moving right along, number 7, y over x, 20 over 2. 2 goes into 20 10 times. Y over x, 30 over 3. 3 goes into 30 10 times as well. And 40 over 4. 4 goes into 40 10 times. 10, 10, 10. Nice and constant. There's my answer. K equals 10. I want to make sure also we're rewriting our K nice and simple like that. K equals blank, because that's what our constant of proportionality is for this table. Next one, y over x. I know it seems like a lot of work, but if we do this over and over and over again, it's really going to build our skills out so that when we see it in 8th grade, when we're learning this again next school year, you're already going to be a professional at it. It's going to look all familiar to you. You're going to know how to do it. 3 goes into 24 8 times. Next up, 32 over 4. 4 goes into 32 8 times. And finally, 40 over 5. 5 goes into 40, 8 times. I got an 8, 8, and an 8. There's my answer. K equals 8. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, oh, I can just divide in my head. I know my multiplication facts by heart. I don't need to be showing all this work. I'm going to ask that you do show all your work, just because if you make a mistake and you show your work, I can go back and show you exactly where your mistake was made so that we learn from it. And because with where we build this lesson out, it's going to be really important that you know this process and are able to replicate it over and over again. Number 9. I got 30 over 2. 2 goes into 30 15 times. I got 45 over 3. 3 goes into 45 15 times. Looking good so far. And 60 over 4. 4 goes into 60 15 times as well. So my K value here is 15. Now number 10 is interesting. If we notice, all my X values match all my Y values. So if I take this first little column here, Y over X is 17 over 17. This is what we call a whole fraction. If I've got the same number on the top and the bottom, then this whole thing is just equal to 1. If I cut a pizza into 17 slices and I eat 17 out of 17, I ate one whole pizza. It's kind of like what we've been talking about with our fraction workbooks over the last couple days. If we've got a whole fraction, it's just equal to 1. Same thing here. 18 over 18, whole fraction equals 1. 19 over 19, whole fraction just equals 1. So my K value is equal to 1. Now, we're not going to go through everything on the back. There was one of them that I wanted to take a look at in particular. 17 and 18. So two of them I want to look at. 17 and 18. So for 17, I'm going to set it up just like before. Y over X. 144 over 12. 12 goes into 144 12 times. For my next one, 11 and 121. Y over X, 121 over 11. And 11 goes into 121 11 times. This is the first time and the only time on this worksheet where we see a different number for two separate fractions for K. Just to be sure, let's see what happens with this third one. K is equal to 108 over 9. 9 goes into 108 12 times. Excuse me. So we got 12, 11, 12. What does that mean? Well, that means that there is no constant change from point to point to point in this table. There is no constant change. So we cannot find a value for K. There is no K for this table. That's why it's important that we check all three of these. Because if we're going fast, we check the first one, boom, we get 12. Okay, K is equal to 12. Well, no, because it has to be the same for all three of them. If it's not, then there's no constant at all. All right? And it wasn't number 18 I wanted to talk about last, it was number 20. This is the one I told you guys to skip, and here's why. I'm going to take my Y over X. I get 4 over 6 for my Y over X. Now I notice I've got a smaller number on the top. That means I'm going to have a fraction. Let's see if we could simplify this fraction. The two numbers that multiply to give me 4 are 2 times 2. The two numbers that multiply to give me 6 are 2 times 3. I'm going to look for a number in common here to cancel. That number in common is the 2's. and I'm left with 2 on top, 3 on the bottom. So I want to make sure that my other 2 points give me the fraction 2 over 3. Okay, I want to make sure these other 2 columns in my table give me the fraction 2 over 3 when I simplify. So I'll set my next one up, 8 over 12. Now I want a 2 on the top. So for splitting this up, I could say that 8 is 2 times 4. And I want a 3 on the bottom. I have a 12. I want a 3. Okay, I have 12. I want a 3. Well, 3 times what gives me 12? That would be 4. All right. If we had split 12 up into 2 times 6, we could cancel out the 2's, but then we're stuck with that same fraction from before of 4 over 6. So now we know what we're looking for. We're looking for a 2 over 3. On the top, we've got a 2 times 4. On the bottom, we've got a 3 times 4. My 4's go away, leaving me with that 2 over 3. Finally, my last one, I'm just going to do it up here. Y over x gives me 16 over 24. I'm looking for a 2 over 3. So I want 2 times something on the top. I want 3 times something on the bottom. Well, 2 times what gives me 16? That's going to be 8. And 3 times what gives me 24? That is also going to be 8. There's my factor and common to cancel out, just like that. And I'm left with 2 over 3. 2 over 3, 2 over 3, 2 over 3. My final answer, k is equal to 2 over 3. All right? And just for you to check, we're not going to go through each of these in details, but just for you to check to make sure your answers are correct. Number 11, we've got k is equal to 4. Number 12, we got k is equal to 1/5. 13, k is equal to 3. 14, k is equal to 1/3. Number 15, we ended up with k is equal to 1 over 10. Number 16, k is equal to 8. Number 18, k is equal to 1/7. And number 19, k is equal to 1. All right? So if any of those ones on the back that we kind of just breezed through right there, if any of those are wrong, just circle them up with your red pen and see if you can figure out where you made the mistake. Look back at your work, see what you did, and see if you can get to those answers that we just jotted down real quick for those last 8 of them. All right?